Morning. Carl Tigger, Don Fortin from the Special Gauge Division of the LS Starrett Company. This morning we're going to be showing you a little bit, at least from an engineering perspective, not a slick marketing perspective, how to use our standard 906030 handheld Pi Gauge and Master. Donnie's going to be demonstrating how to do the actual attachment of the assembly, the wire ID sensor and the band sensor for the OD. I'm going to get behind the camera and try to zoom in a little bit and help out on making things a little bit clearer for you. We'll get the, this is a salesman's sample kit that we just received in that we're using for illustrative purposes. These gauges are expensive and very precise. You can order the packing any way you want, whether it's just standard or whether it's with its own carrying case and so on. Right now, Don is attaching the ID sensor wire to the frame. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so we can see what we're doing better. Okay, and on the handle end, Don has a screwdriver that he's going to be inserting into a slotted screw and pressing that screw in and rotating 180 degrees changes the gauge from an ID measuring gauge to an OD measuring gauge. And you can see Don flexing the sensor assembly there, and there's a push button on the handle that you use to retract and extend the sensor wire. Now, one of the first things we do is use a master to determine 0 for our indicator, our nominal reading. So Donnie's pressing the button in, locating the sensor wire down in the master, and to make sure that the wire sensor is inserted properly, you finesse it a little bit, wiggle it around, make sure the band is down, the sensor wire is down, located where it's supposed to be. And he'll loosen the, sets the tightening screw on the bezel here on the indicator and rotate the dial to 0, which should represent the nominal diameter dimension of the master. He'll take that off, try it a couple more times, and when he's satisfied that his technique and the measurements are consistent, we have a good 0 starting point from which we can then go to actually measuring the product part.
And also, what we have are telltales here, of which that you can set your maximum and minimum dimensions of what the product part range you want on the indicator.
For example, if we have a 3-inch diameter, we could have plus or minus 5 thousandths, clearly identifiable by those little red markers.
Telltales, yes.
Okay, great.
So now I'm going to actually check the part. And a little technique of which that's helpful, that helps the product, or I mean the sensor seat into the part, is by tapping the part very lightly. Okay. A couple of times to ensure that it's seated in there. And we've, as you can see, we're getting a reading of plus about 11 thousandths. So this product part is approximately 11 thousandths large. Larger than nominal? Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Now, if we want to do a similar kind of thing, but for an OD dimension, we probably want to change from the wire sensor assembly to the band sensor, and that gives us the ability to measure the outside diameter of a part or the master that we use as our starting point. Assembly of the and changing of the sensor assemblies, pretty easy, just 2 socket head cap screws, and we loosen and tighten them to remove or insert the sensor assembly to the gauge frame itself. Snug it up a little bit. We're pretty sure that won't move at all. Okay. Alright, screwdriver goes into the handle, we rotate the assembly, push in, rotate the assembly 180 degrees, and that changes from the ID measurement which we had to now an OD measurement. And Donnie's going to grab an OD master this time. And this sensor has a few stops so that we can rest level around the OD of the gauge of the master or the part itself.
These axial stops actually help to square up the sensor to the part to ensure a more accurate reading.
Right. Okay, and we're going to set the bezel to 0 once again on our first reading here. And try it a couple more times, and if it consistently reads 0, we're satisfied that we have a good starting point. Then we can take the master away and use another sample part. And we open up the sensor, set it down over the lid of the cup, wriggle it around a little bit to make sure that it's seated properly, and we're going to get a good measurement. Oops, we're just over the edge on the lip. There you go.
I see this.
All right. And it looks to me like we're from here 6 or 7 thousandths over on that lid.
Under.
Under. Okay, thank you. Okay, under left side, over right side. Thank you very much. And that, in a nutshell, is how we measure an ID or an OD of a part. How we set it to 0 to begin with. How we change the sensors, and that's it. Have a good day.